Welcome everybody. Wednesday night is here again, and we are joined by obviously my co-host here, Drew's Paranormal, and we have a special guest, Drew's Ellingworth. Did I pronounce that right, Drew? Did I butcher your name like I butcher everybody else's name?
It's all right. It's Ellsworth.
Ellsworth.
There you go. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about Scottish clans. And you know what? I thought I would invite Drew on because he's right into his Scottish clans. I mean, he is American. What about in America are you from, Drew?
I live in Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan. But there you go, guys. But honestly, he's gave me some pictures of him with his kilt on. He looks a handsome chap. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let it fill up for a couple of minutes, right? But listen, guys, could you put in the chat or if you've got a clan name, and we can discuss that too. Plus, Living Histories Mysteries is his channel. Could you please go over there and give him a big subscribe, guys? Also, could you check out his link? What is that? Support and adopt a family or toys. Why don't you tell us a wee bit about that, Drew? That link that you put in the chat.
Okay. This year I decided that with and I live the way I speak. With all the bad things that's happened over the last couple of years, left a lot of families in need, and I decided that this year I was going to start. Now I don't know if we have them worldwide or if they're only an American thing, but at Christmas time every year we have a Toys for Tots drive.
That's good.
Which at random businesses you'll find these large boxes and people just buy toys and they put them in the boxes, or they'll get like non-perishable food, canned goods and stuff. They'll put them in the boxes and then they'll be divvied up among needy families in the area. We also have the Adopt a Family program where we find one family that's in desperate need. And we go out, we buy toys for them, buy food for them. They can't have a Christmas dinner or something like that. So I decided this year I was going to take them both on. And so that is the link and all the information there for those. If anybody wants to help out, of course, it'll all be kept hush hush. But I will make sure that the families know, where the help came from. So like I have followers in France, I have followers in Scotland and England and Germany and Portugal and Poland. So of course, I'm going to let these families know, not only did help come local, but help came from all over the world to make sure that you and your children have a Merry Christmas.
That's a really good thing you're doing, Drew. Honestly, that is a really good. It's weird having two Drews in the chat. Because I've got Drew down the bottom, I've got Drew up there. I should really be down the bottom and two Drews at the top.
That's why when her and I are normally together in a chat where I'm Drew 1 because I'm older and she's Drew 2 because, well, she's younger.
Yep.
I would just like to welcome some new people in the chat. Where is it? Iron Firehorse. That's a cool name.
That's my sister.
Is that your
Iron Firehorse? Yeah, Iron Firehorse. She's for Canada as well.
Welcome. Who's Facebook user? Hey everyone, I'm from the North Pole. Welcome. It must be called up there now. Tell Santa Claus I want a new Xbox. Maybe I'll bring my one. So Drew, how are you tonight on this fabulous freezing night?
Drew 1 or Drew 2?
Down the bottom, Drew.
Oh, mate.
I'll point down.
Good, thank you very much.
Hot damn! I get the top Drew.
I can fix that. I can actually fix that. Wait a minute. I can do that, and I can see down the bottom. See, that's it.
Now we're left Drew and right Drew.
Right, so left Drew and right Drew, ladies and gentlemen. So what's that, Christina Day? Just bringing up some. What's this here? Just bringing up some messages.
Yeah, we had a COVID meeting.
Do you want to tell us in the chat any clans that your family members are members of? And we'll maybe talk about it shortly. So anyway, Drew, I've got a question for you. Drew, 2. I'll say 2. Right, this one. Right, Drew. Drew.
He's changing the rules on us, Drew
How
one.
did- Right. You're 1 and Drew's 2. Right. So I'm getting mixed up. Right. Anyway, Drew Ellingsworth. That's. I'll just say Drew Ellingsworth. It makes life a lot easier, ladies and gentlemen. Here a question for you, Drew. And this is something that I didn't really research, but I should have. How did the clans actually begin in Scotland? Do you know? How did it begin?
You know, I have never found an actual historic account of how the clans began. As near as I can figure, the clans actually began like our surnames today,
Right.
and you might
It just
have.
was.
Aye.
Pardon?
It just was. It's just one of those things that was like your name.
See, I
Just
have
tradition.
done
Yeah.
my research and some pictures here. I went and did some pictures, and Drew Ellingsworth. Drew Ellingsworth sent me some of his pictures of him and his kilt, ladies and gentlemen. Where do you see this hand? You know you're going to get loads of messages, Drew Ellingsworth. You know you're going to get loads of women
Yeah,
in the chat sending you messages.
I'm very,
when
yeah.
when I share
I
this.
don't necessarily have the legs for a kilt, but by God, it says bowls like these don't fit in trousers.
Rob Roy, eat your heart out. Here we go.
Do you know if your family, if your grandfather or grandfather's grandfather was the chief or anything, Drew? Do you know if he was
my family actually left Scotland in 1754.
Right.
The McRae clan during the Battle of Culloden, the McRae clan split.
Right.
So half was Jacobite, half was Hanoverian. The Hanoverian side moved just south of Cambridge, England, to a place called Aylesworthshire.
That way's better.
Right.
And in 1754, somehow, some way, the family left Aylesworthshire and left Eilean Donan Castle,
Right.
and all started moving to America at the same time.
Right.
So that's when the last of my family was actually in Scotland. Chris and I was talking a little bit earlier because I told him I had my National Trust of Scotland Johnston scarf on, and he asked me when I was coming back to Scotland. I said I'd never been there.
Imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. Drew Ellingsworth here has never been to Scotland. That's terrible.
It's one of Drew's dreams.
You know, it's
very much is.
I could see
you about it several times.
I could see Drew Ellingsworth the nurse standing on top of the mountain. You know, the mist rolling down. You know, and standing there with his kilt on and his cane in one hand. You know, like a right Rob Roy moment, showing it off. You know, I mean, I'll tell you who I am. Right, my father's side is MacDonald. Right, Danny's favourite clan. And and my mother's side is Greg. Drew, what about you? Do you have a clan?
I do believe mine's is the Douglases and the Browns. Or the McCluckies, depending on what clan was where. Because to let you, I don't know if you know how clans worked. Do you know how it worked? There was a clan, to let you understand the way it worked, they had a chief. There was a chief of every clan. And basically, depending on your place in the family, you either became like a soldier type of person that would help go out and flourish in like new stock and different things like that. So you would kind of get your title in the family with how much you did for the family, basically.
Yep.
So that's why I was asking Drew if he knew if any of his family members were chiefs or anything.
I mean, Drew Ellingsworth.
Our family genealogy book that my aunt out in California done only goes back to 1754.
Right.
So we have no clue what we were. All I know is that the McRaes at one point in time were a very, very large clan. I seen somebody in here earlier mention, I think it was Iron Fire, said something about being descended from the Mackenzie clan. Well, we actually got Eilean Donan Castle from the Mackenzie clan, the chief of the Mackenzies.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the McCraes at one point in time were called the male shirt of the Mackenzie clan. We were the protectors, we were the guardians, we were the watch, we were the bodyguards.
Right.
The McCraes fought with Queen Mary. Now I don't know about the whole Braveheart scenario, but I know the McCraes fought with Queen Mary for the sovereignty of Scotland, the Catholic religion.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we split at Culloden.
Right.
And come to America and became Protestants. I'll never figure that one out. But
see, here's an interesting fact that I did learn, and it's actually a very important one, right? And I don't know if you'll agree with me, Drew Ellingsworth and Drew. Tartans, right? Everybody thinks if they've got a tartan, they belong to a clan, and that's not true. There's new tartans getting made all the time, right? You can actually design now with computers and stuff. You can actually design your own tartan, and when you design your own tartan, yeah, you get a wee plaque with a bit of your tartan in it, right, and a name and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean you belong to a clan. It just means you've created a new tartan. Because I've noticed a lot of Americans, I don't know if Drew Ellingsworth, I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of Americans will create like their own tartan, right? And then they'll say that that's their heritage. They had a castle and all that kind of stuff. Oh, but this is my tartan. But tartan doesn't mean that's your clan. Okay, I mean, you've got to have a clan, you've got to have a clan name, like you do, like Drew does, like I do. I mean, here when I'll bring you up this pic, this is what I find quite interesting. See the background I've got now. This shows you quite a lot of the clan families. What do you think of that?
All right.
That's the arms. And what do you think of that? McDonald's
That's
in there,
brilliant.
Eurobem there. Yeah, I mean, that's just one page of like maybe 20, right? I'll only take one.
So you've got to remember as well, no everybody had their name in the clan, because people married into it and different things like that. So no everybody's name was a clan name, if you like, as well.
Yeah,
so that's
this helps you a lot easier. This helps you a lot easier. What do you think of this, Drew Ellingsworth? This tells you if you look.
I'm sorry, Chris. What a lot of people don't realize is that not only did you have a clan name, but each clan had sects, sects, and subsects. Like a perfect example, a sect of the McCrae clan would be like the McCraws. Big M, little a, big C, RAW. A subsect of the McCrae clan is the McGraws.
Yeah.
My dad was actually a third cousin to Tug McGraw, the baseball player, Tim McGraw's dad.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
That's really interesting. That's actually really interesting. That.
If you look at the shields as well, some of the shields is like, say my Douglas family had their own shield, for example. It was a lion.
They do.
And then my dad's family, McClucky clan, had maybe a unicorn. You would then make your own plaque that would have the lion in it and the unicorn, and then that would then become like the Browns plaque, you know. There's different ways it worked. I was looking at it earlier on. It's quite interesting the way they did do the plaques. If you notice that they're all split into different parts.
I think Douglas is actually part of that, to be honest with you, Drew. I think one of them is the Douglas clan. You would need to look really closely because it has got a lion. I know that. But there's a lot of like mix-ups with clans. That's what I'm trying to put across. There's like a lot of mix-ups with clans and tartans, right? Somebody thinks, oh, I've got a certain tartan, that means I've got a clan in Scotland. That's not true. As I was saying,
Yeah.
I could go on the computer and pay $20 and have my own tartan made. Right?
Well,
That doesn't mean you're part of a clan. What's that, Drew?
Yeah.
Ellingsworth?
I'm definitely here to say that if you live in the UK, if you live in Ireland or Scotland or England, it is much easier to get your hands on your family tartan. I actually, when I got married, my wife and I had a traditional Scottish wedding, and then we threw a big ceilidh. We didn't throw a reception afterwards. We threw a Scottish ceilidh. And
yes.
Chris actually has a picture of me in my wedding outfit.
Yes.
Since my family fought with Queen Mary, I wore the Royal Stuart tartan. Not that one.
Is that
the red and black tartan?
Is it the red and black one?
Yes, the one with the red.
That
one there. That handsome chap there. Look at that.
That's like one of the traditional tartans as well. Most of the original tartans are got the red out and such like.
Yep, that's Queen Mary's royal tartan. That's the Royal Stuart tartan. I wanted my own tartan for my wedding, but it was like $300 to get it shipped to me.
Yeah, I know. Question for you: did you have a skiing do in your sock? You know what a skiing do is? Come on, you're Scottish, man. You've got the kilt one. What's a skiing do? I can't see it. I'll have to bring it in. Yeah. Hey. I've got one of them. I've got the exact same one as that. It's made by Wilkinson's sword. You know, I'm sure that's made by Wilkinson's sword. Is it?
Here it is.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to carry knives in Scotland. If you get caught with a knife, you've got to have a really good excuse or go to jail. So I wonder if they would let us still carry a skiing do. Do you think so? If we had a skiing do down your sock?
Drew. That is a very interesting question. Do you know a couple of weeks ago I was sitting in my car outside the middle shop in Douglas, and a car pulled up, and they must have been going to a wedding, and all these people climbed out it, and they all had kilts on. And they had skiing doos. Now I'm thinking to myself, they went into the shop where the real skiing doos or with the plastic imitation skiing doos. Because I think you can carry them. I don't know the law on that. Any police in the chat? Tell us the law on that.
Let us know.
Let us know the chats, guys. Let's have a quick look here now. Let's have a wee quick. There's quite a lot of people, new people. Jason Ghost Hunter, welcome. Cemeteries Down Under, welcome. We've got a lot of new people in the chat tonight.
Welcome everybody.
In, guys. This is really, really good. Scottish Outlooker and Clan Gillen.
Madrid crew, come with me everywhere, don't you guys? You are great at following me.
I think
I'm actually very, very surprised with some of the laws and stuff in England and Scotland when it comes to weapons. You know, America got their weapons from England, for God's sakes. We were firing the Brown Bess muskets before we ever came here. But we can carry them here openly down the street. You get in serious trouble in England for having a Brown Bess. The same with a skindoo.
Well, here,
it was meant to be a black knife. It was a hidden knife.
Yeah.
Now, where is this, Drew? In Drina. Come on, your history here. I know exactly.
Is that Bannockburn?
Famous battleground. It is.
The Bannockburn.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the Covenanters. It's the Covenanters, and they're waiting to match. I've actually got a better one of them.
There you go. The traditional. I noticed in the background they've all got their tartan on, and that most of their tartan is different. See, they'll be there representing their family.
That's right. They're there represent the different clans. I've actually got this one, which look at that. Look at those handsome chaps and ladies in the chat.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I mean, you don't get people don't dress like that anymore. I mean, obviously you get the people reenacting, you get people like Drew Ellingsworth that do it, but you don't see that anymore. I mean, when's the last time you were in Scotland, just walking down a street and you seen a man in a kilt? Not going to a wedding, not going to a reenactment. When was the last time you seen it? You know?
Never. There's a man on Facebook, I'm trying to find him. What's his name? And he walks about, what's his name? If anybody knows, let me know. I share his stuff sometimes. And that's what he does. He's trying to bring back the old traditions of Scotland.
Yes.
And he goes into places like Edinburgh and things in full tartan dress. Something out. What's his name? I'll find him.
And I couldn't help myself, ladies and gentlemen. I had to go and find the McDonald tartan. I was hoping Danny would be here tonight, you know, because he loves the McDonald's, you know. And I just
he loves them a lot.
Oh, he does. Yeah. It's a wee joke we've got between us. But there you go. There's the McDonald tartan, there, ladies and gentlemen. But it's sad how traditions are starting to die now. I mean, here's I like this one here. This one you've got. Where is it? I found this. This is one of Drew's pictures. Drew Ellingsworth's pictures. I mean, look at that, guys. Look at the gear that's got on.
That's actually here in northern Michigan at a War of 1812 fort called Fort Mackinac. It's called Mackinac Island, but the fort back in the day was called Mackinac, and the British actually held the fort for quite some time and kept their Black Watch in control of the fort. So we today in the 21st century, we have a group of Black Watch reenactors that stay there at the fort all summer long and do battle scenarios, reenactments, things like that. That right there is your three main commanders of the Watch group.
I mean, can you imagine getting dressed in these days, Andrina? Can you imagine getting dressed? Oh my God! It takes what, 5 minutes nowadays? It'd probably take about an hour and a half. Then.
I know. I mean, they used to have to lie on the floor. What they would do is they would spread the tartan out on the floor. You would lie on top of it, put the belt under that, and then you would kind of have to get strapped into it. That's the way they put it on in the old days.
The old saying, when you're giving somebody something or you're giving somebody hell or something, you say you're giving them the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, that came from the Great Kilt because it was 9 yards long.
Didn't know that.
Yes, of course, the traditional kilts nowadays are more traditional. You'll know this, Drew Ellingsworth. You'll know this more. For instance, you've got this photo here. You've got people with kilts on, right? But the traditional kilts, did they know, like, I'll need to take the photo off to show you. But did the traditional kilts know, like, wrap around their body at the top?
Andy the Highlander, he wears one. It goes right up round their back. There he's trying to bring back the old traditions. His name is Andy the Highlander, and he's on Facebook, and he goes to all the different ruins and things and walks about the town in his kilt. And if you see, he's got the old kilt on where it comes right up round your shoulder, and it can shield you from all the different Scottish weather and things. You can pull it up and it can shield you. It's actually a really, really good part of your defence and things in battle and things as well. It keeps you warm. There's loads of things it does. You can use it as a blanket, use it to help your fallen brother and things.
That's right, Drew. That's absolutely brilliant. Drew, that's absolutely right. Drew Ellingsworth, could you post your link in the chat? Because we've got about 26 people watching us all over, because we've got, obviously, we're through Parapost and other places, and I'll bring it up on the screen. Guys, if you are feeling kind of flush this Christmas, could you help some of these this link out? It's for charity. It's for Drew Ellingsworth. Here's a charity that he's doing for is it Adopt a Family, isn't it? And children and stuff like that.
Yeah, Adopt a Family and people. Toys for Tots.
Yeah. It's just while there's people in here because I've got to bring it up on the main screen. But it's, I mean, I'm a Braveheart fan. What about you, Andrew? Are you a Braveheart fan?
Oh yes. Even though I know 90% it's exaggerated, I'm still love Braveheart.
I know.
I still love
I went to Wallace's monument at Stirling, and it looks nothing like that actor. That monument on top of the hill.
He doesn't like me.
You know, there's going to be a fact checker. You know, there's going to be a fact checker that says
he looks like Mel Gibson. I bet a few people.
no, there's
think
somebody's
that.
going to email me. Do you know, I'm going to get an email with us, and I'll have you know that that's not an actor. You're putting out false messages. But guys, check out that on Living History.
The way I look at it, any Scotsman that believes that Mel Gibson looked anything like William Wallace is not worth his weight in salt.
Nope.
Oh my God.
The pictures I have seen of artists' renditions of the actual William Wallace made him look more Norse or more Pict than Highland. And you know, it's I mean, here's this big 6'5" tall, muscular, bulky man, and then they get little Mr. 5'4".
Robert the Bruce.
Yeah. Now, see, I like the guy they got to play Robert the Bruce, because, well, he's actually Scottish for one, and two, we had a TV show here a few years ago called Turn: The American Revolution, and then they changed the name to Turn: Washington Spies, and the man that played Robert the Bruce in Braveheart played Robert Rogers, the leader of Rogers Rangers, in Turn.
Right.
And I've always been a big fan of his because he's not up there faking Scottish accent. He really has one.
Let's give all our American and Australians in the chat a treat. Let's talk really Scottish. Hey, so who are we all going in the chat tonight?
Are you alright in there, Chris?
It's a Braveheart Nacht tonight. There you go. There's one for you. Drillings will say it's a Braveheart Moonlight Nacht tonight. When you go say that.
Well, I only understood half of what you said, but there's something about a Braveheart and a Braveheart.
It's meant to say. It's a bright moonlight night tonight, but you really say it's a bright moonlight night tonight, which means it's a bright moonlight night tonight.
You know, here about 2 years ago, I started downloading a bunch of videos to learn how to speak Scotch Gaelic, and
just need to spend
you know how impossible that is when you have no one to speak it with.
Oh, I bet you.
It's quite funny because when I do it's quite funny because see when I do the co-hosting with Dakota on Bald and Bonkers, and we get somebody like Dave Schrader. Hey Dave, if you're watching, he can't understand a single word that I'm saying.
When you and I first started talking 2 years ago, I had a hard time understanding you, but the more I had you on as my guest on my channel, the more I've been on and guested with you, the more I talked to Drew, it's like, holy shit, I can understand him now.
There's a request for you, Andrina. There's a request for Christina Day.
Say that 10 times.
Oh.
It's a bright moonlight. It's a bright moonlight night tonight. It's a bright moonlight night tonight. I could say it because I'm Scottish, so it's no problem to me.
It's Scottish.
I'd like Drew to try and say it 10 times.
Yeah, I started saying it before it was all said and done. It'd be my bra broke in the moonlight tonight. It would be, I mean, you know what the hell I was saying. My bra broke in the moonlight tonight.
Oh, God.
And the strap
Here's an
cut my
interesting folk. Oi, Aye,
People either love it or they hate it, I've found out. Either people love your accent or they really hate it. I mean, I worked in a call centre, and a lot of the time it was for people all around the world, because the call centres are from home, so anybody can technically get a job. And there was a lot of people worked for South Africa in our call centre. And the minute that you came on the phone and you says, Andrina O2, how can I help you? The minute they would say, can I get another advisor, please? And you would have to pass them because they didn't like your accent. So people either love it or they hate it. I actually lost my job because of my accent.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Oh,
Scottish
outlook.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love that. That's one thing that's really confused my wife a lot, because she's of Irish descent, but once again, she's not had a member of her family speak with an Irish accent for over 200 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started doing Scottish reenacting, I started using words like ball bag, fanny, heed. And she's like, what? Oh, my favorite, Dene. I didn't know.
I didn't know.
And she's like, what?
Aye.
I didn't know what you're saying, man.
How? You just gonna know.
The same with Mystical Love and Light, who's just come into the chat. She said that when she first started watching me, she had to get her husband to tell her what I was saying because she didn't understand me. She can now, but I've got to talk really slow and clear.
I will say this, Drew and Gina and Drew Ellingsworth. I have met really, really thick Scottish accents, right? Mm-hmm. And honestly, even I had trouble understanding. Me and Drew, we're for the kind of lowlands near Glasgow and stuff like that. But see, the further north you go, the more thicker and thicker and thicker the accent gets. And it's like, oh my, you blend in fine because you're Scottish, like, but see like English or like or the Americans or Canadians that trying to understand these people. And it's like, hey, I'll tell you that too, aye.
Well, you know, and see, when I first met my wife, she could not take an English or a Scottish accent. And in between sitting down and listening to Drew's live streams with me and sitting down and listening to Chris's live streams with me, plus we've got a very, very dear friend in Corby, England. His family actually came from up around your area. He speaks with more of a Scottish bite to his language than he does an English one. And he's been here a couple times to visit, and now she loves the accent. It's one of her favorite languages, one of her favorite dialects in the entire world. So it's addictive. I mean, it's like a bad drug. It's very, very addictive.
Ellingsworth, you need to come. You need to put the kilt on. You need to stand at Bannockburn, where the soldiers fought that day. You know, standing on.
Listening to the pipe.
Look at
my
that,
friend. I would love to, and the wife actually plans on coming to Scotland, but she wants to wait until our daughter's grown up, because she knows she will have to literally drug me to get me back on the plane to leave Scotland.
Well, it's. Don't know.
I mean, her and I have this understanding that when I go to Scotland, I'm going to Scotland to die and be buried back on my family land.
Oh.
I mean, why don't you move here? You could move here. You could move to Scotland and retire. You know. I mean,
one could only hope.
I must admit, this is a beautiful picture of the Piper.
Yeah,
it's something.
Nice.
It's something in Scotland, and I think Julia can agree with me here. It's something like it's. You can always
that was the Piper at our wedding. Yep.
Yeah.
There's something about listening to the bagpipes when you're Scottish or even got Celtic blood in you that makes you stand proud, and it always brings a tear to your eye when you hear a piper, especially if it's a loud piper.
You have not heard me try to play my pipe yet. There's nothing proud about that.
Did you came what I always look forward to? New Year's Eve, right? Edinburgh Castle. Before the fire the guns, the piper walks out, and he plays the pipes, and it always remembers your lost family. Yeah,
I streamed it live last year.
That's
I
right.
streamed it live last year, so I did, and everybody loved it.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely awesome. There's somebody in the chat I've not seen for a while.
Hey,
Dobby
Dobby.
Sock. Dobby
Yeah,
Sock. Do
Dobby.
you have a clan name? Do you have one? I would just like to welcome other people. Was that Snowman? Welcome. Jason goes down to welcome. Oh, we've got lots of people in the chat tonight.
Welcome, guys.
Well, actually, where's this other? Can you tell us what's
I'm committing a crime and getting deported back.
What can you tell us about this one that you've got on here, Drew?
That right there. That right there is actually a Black Watch kilt that I put together back, my God, 7 years ago. And that was my first St. Patrick's Day parade here just south of Michigan in northern Indiana.
Mm-hmm. It's looking good.
And then there was I think there was another picture in there somewhere of me in a blue shirt. That was my second year doing the parade. And then there was another picture there of me in all black. Yeah, that was my second year.
Was that
nice?
Was that St. George's Day or St. Paddy's Day? What was that again?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, yeah. I mean,
oh wow, Mittens. You see what Mittens is saying? Strange thing is, an old man had died on the park bench down the street, and we heard bagpipes playing from the park at that moment. Wow.
That's
interesting.
Wow.
One of his ancestors came to help him.
I was at a funeral about a month ago, and it was my sister-in-law's father, and they actually had a piper at the funeral, and I think it's a nice thing, you know, to get. Can you imagine go off into the afterlife? You go listening to the bagpipes, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most proudest things you can do for your family is pipe them out. A lot of people up here in my hometown get piped out their street when they pass away. That's quite common up here in my town.
There's people in the chat say, Iron Firehouse, why can't I see Mittens? The reason you can't see Mittens is because we're going through multiple channels. We're going through Parapost Central, we're going through Facebook Bald and Bonkers, through another Facebook group, we are going through my Facebook group, Ghost Squad Scotland. Listen, the Ghost Squad Scotland Facebook group is open to everyone, so join it and you'll get to know and see posts and watch this live.
Mm-hmm.
Bald and Bonkers, we're going to 8 different locations, sorry. So it's different chats, guys, because we're on Twitch, we're on everywhere. You know, so this is why people can't really see each other. This is why you all would be better coming over to the main channel. Here, I'll post the link to Ghost Squad
come over to Ghost Squad Scotland, guys, and you'll see all the other chat. I think most of them are in Ghost Squad.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
I'll just post this here. There, I'll post it in the chat, guys. If you could subscribe to Ghost Squad Scotland, I'd be eternally grateful. Nearly at 700 subscribers, Drew.
Brilliant.
Can you believe that?
Brilliant.
And it's only 2 months. It's only 2 months that we have been running this channel. And it's absolutely amazing, you know?
That's because you put out excellent videos.
Yeah, we did one the other day. Me and Alan, my cameraman, is probably watching this right now. And we went to Les Mehego. That's a beautiful church you've got in that, didn't you,
Yeah, it's a nice little church. I've ghost hunted in that cemetery, and you don't really get much. Now and again, you'll get a couple of little voices and things, but I can't really say it's a cemetery that's active, to be honest. I have heard a few things, but it's a beautiful cemetery, and it's really old.
Yeah.
It's one of
it
the oldest.
Really is a beautiful cemetery. So, what other pictures do we have? Let's see what other pictures I have, ladies and gentlemen. I have got lots of pictures here. Drew Ellingsworth sent me this one. So what can you tell us about this one, Drew?
I can say it's true.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, it's a well-known fact, ladies and gentlemen. I've had people asking me. I play the Xbox now and again, and the first question somebody will ask me says, "Do you wear a kilt?" And I'll be like, "Not right now. I'm sitting playing this." And then they'll say, "Is it true you don't wear underwear with your kilts?" And I says, "Aye, it's true." Oh, aye. You know, I mean, you get folk that do it, obviously when they go to weddings that have never worn them before. But what's that, Drew?
Scotsman.
It's actually very funny you said that, because that picture of me at my first St. Patrick's Day parade, a lady stopped me with her husband and she said, "Do you wear underwear under that?" I'm like, "No, because then it'd be a skirt." If it's a kilt, you do not wear underwear under it. If it's a skirt, you do.
Yeah. I mean, I've been asked that. You know that must be one of the most asked questions when I bump into an American, because I do bump into an American quite a lot, Drew. I'm quite a touristy bat near that castle. It's amazing the amount of tourists that I bump into. And they'll be like, "Is there MDB kilts on?" And I'll be like, look round about and I'll go, "No."
Yep, Dundee, Aberdeen area in Edinburgh, and you will run into people that wear kilts. But to be honest with you, it's mostly the tourists that like to put a kilt on when they come to Scotland. Traditional people, like if they're going to like a Burns night, or if they're going to a Cayley or something, they'll put their kilts on then. But Scotland's too cold. Why wear a kilt when you've got trousers?
What do you mean it's too cold?
See, that's
wait a sec.
Thing
wait, Drew 2 is going to start an argument now, because we get much, much, much colder in Michigan than Scotland does, and I wear my kilt 12 months out of the year.
Well,
see, it's actually I'm going to have to agree with Drew Ainsworth here, and I'll tell you why. I don't know if women are different, right? I don't know. I'm not being sexist or anything like that before I start sending me bad messages and stuff like that. But I have noticed your legs don't really feel the cold. Your legs don't really feel the cold.
No, your other bits do. But your legs do.
For your knee down, it doesn't really feel the cold. Because I know a lot of people run about me that go walking their dog in the snow with shorts on. And I think to myself, my God, they're either extremely brave or stupid. You know, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just men are affected differently. I don't know. I'm not starting anything.
I don't want to ruin the Christmas holiday for anyone or anything, but to be completely honest, that whole chestnuts roasting on an open fire, you really honestly want your chestnuts roasting on an open fire after you have wore your kilt out in like January, when the wind chill's like minus 20 Fahrenheit, and you wore your kilt out somewhere. But that's okay.
Yeah.
There's quite a few good comments.
I know. I'm trying to read them all. I've never had as many people on Scotland, which I find absolutely amazing. If you're new, guys, could you please subscribe and get us up to 700? I would love to get to 700 subscribers for Christmas.
Oh, mystical love and light, you are so true. It either curls up and freezes, or it crawls up inside you and starts to come out backside like a...
Oh my God. Honestly. Honestly. But it's that's it. We'll have to start the next club. When you come out, we'll have to go marching with kilts on into the snowy mountains. I'll sit in the car with the gear on, you know.
I'll even wear mines. I'll come along too, and I'll wear mines. I'll get a traditional Scottish.
Here's another subject I would like to bring up, and Drew Ainsworth, you'll ken what I'm talking about here, and you'll definitely know what I'm talking about, Drina. Do you ever, right, see when you bump into an American, right, and Americans, I'm not blaming this on you, but I get it quite a lot for you, right? I get, "Oh, I'm half Scotch." Do you ever get that? Half Scotch. No Scottish, Scotch.
Yeah, Scotch.
And this is what they don't. Aye, they don't realise that if you're half Scotch, what you're half a whiskey, because Scotch in Scotland is whiskey, and they think they belong to a clan because they're half Scotch. And I'll be like, where did you hear this from? Oh, my dad always said I was half Scotch.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
it's
My dad was half Scotch and half bourbon.
Exactly. So, guys in the chat, is there any other clans? What other things can we talk about tonight? Let's see. There's other pictures here. Get out the Let's see. Culloden. Would you like to Culloden, Drew Ellingsworth? What do you think? Would you like to go to the famous?
I would love to visit the battlefield. I would love to visit the battlefield.
It's
I've been to Bannockburn. I've not been to Culloden.
Yeah. It's. I mean.
What one was it that they used?
Activity?
I know. What battle was it that the Scottish managed to outnumber the English? Because what they did was they outsmarted them, and what they did was they get the horses to run down, and instead of people being on horses and running with the poles, they actually got the horses to run with the people on it, and then they lay on the ground and put the poles up so that all the English horses would run in.
Is that the one for Braveheart?
I think.
Is that the battle for Braveheart? I don't know, Mr. Ellingsworth. What's that battle? What was the battle that the Scots beat the English? The first kind of major battle in Braveheart.
If I remember correctly, it was Stirling Bridge.
I think it was Stirling Bridge, where they lay on the ground. The Scottish lay on the ground, and then when the English came in with their horses, the Scottish stood up with spears, if you like, and kind of sat there so that they would all run into the horses. That's where they outsmarted them. They outsmarted them with quite a lot that day. I remember that for the film, but I couldn't remember what battle, and I think it was Stirling Bridge.
Yeah.
I just sent you another picture too, Chris.
Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to pop up or no. Let's have a
it's actually a picture of my clan's castle as it stands today.
Right, wait a minute. More. Save that.
And as far as I know, as far as I know, the McCrees still own it. I know that one of them bought it at the beginning of the 20th century and spent millions of dollars having it completely remodeled and put back to its previous glory.
Right.
But I don't know if one of his children own it now or what. But in the Battle of Stirling Bridge, a lot of people don't realize this. In the movie Braveheart, Stirling Bridge was this big, wide bridge. But back in the day of the Battle of Stirling Bridge was a one-lane wooden bridge. And when the British crossed it from Stirling Castle, the river come across the bridge and made a little peninsula, and then went back up and come around. So the Scots knew, okay, we can filter them any way we want them to go. So they started slaughtering these horses as they were crossing the bridge. So these men, these soldiers were forced to move into the peninsula, and the Scots could move down and bottleneck them and just slaughter them. So,
sorry, English family. I'm sorry, I don't mean to gloat, but I just thought that was a pretty good part, because they always paint the Scottish as stupid. So for a film to show that we are actually quite smart, it was good.
Well, and see, that's one part of the movie that they actually did get right, was the fact that when Wallace's father and brother was killed, his uncle, who was a very educated, very intelligent man, did take him and traveled the UK down into France and taught him
Yeah.
military
That's right.
strategy and fighting and languages. He spoke
That's
like
right.
4 different
Because
languages.
he could speak Latin. I know that. I know he could speak
Mhm.
Latin, which was quite a.
He
That's
spoke
quite
Latin,
a sort of dead
French,
language.
Scottish, and
And he
I
could
don't know
write,
if it was a
which was pretty
German.
I
rare
would just,
in those days.
Mhm.
I would
Writing
just
and
like to,
things.
I would just like to say to Cemeteries Down Under, thank you for popping in and have a brilliant rest of the day. It's just leaving. I have downloaded your picture, Mr. Ellingsworth. What do you think?
Oh wow, what a beautiful castle.
Yeah, that
Wow.
is Eilean Donan Castle. It is up in the northwest corner of Scotland. It actually sits on 2 different locks, and that castle has been it's been under my clan's control since the 1600s, 1500s.
Wow. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Can you imagine? Can you imagine sitting in there on a winter's night in front of the big, massive stone fireplace with a roaring fire and a big mug of homemade beer?
That'd be brilliant.
Do
Honestly.
you know that Eilean Donan Castle is the most photographed castle in Scotland, and it is rented out sometimes years in advance for weddings, reunions,
Yep.
all kinds of stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a beautiful castle. I'm going to bring that up again one more time. I mean, can you imagine what that was
I
like?
love the fact that I love the fact that if you look at it, the castle actually sits on an island.
Yeah, it does.
And the bridge is the only access besides coming in on water.
Do you actually know? Do you actually know it was used in 2 movies? What movies was it used in?
Believe it or
What was the
not,
first one?
I love this. Believe it or not, the first movie I ever seen Eilean Donan Castle in was Highlander.
That's what I was going to say.
Right.
Highlander. Yep.
I didn't realise that.
Yes.
Yep, the castle that they're leaving to go to battle. When he meets Kurgan in battle and dies the first time, you see Eilean Donan Castle behind them as they're riding away on horseback.
Wow.
Was it not used to in Braveheart? I'm sure it was used in Braveheart.
I never noticed.
You know the scene where they go to kill his wife because they've got married in secret, and they tie her onto a pole. You know the bit I'm talking about before they cut her throat.
Mm-hmm.
In the distance, there's a castle, and it looks exactly the same as that.
Could be.
There you go.
It's very possible. Very possible.
If I win the lottery, if I win the Euro Millions, I wonder how much it would cost. We could live in it. It'd be great. We could shove you over. You could march about your kilt on. You know.
Imagine the electricity bill.
Oh my God. Imagine the electricity bill.
To me, it's really amazing. And I made this remark to you, Chris, in one of your earliest videos on this channel, on Ghost Squad Scotland. You were photographing a castle that was in ruins in a field in a pasture across the street from a farmhouse.
Crawford Castle.
And I was sitting there and I was looking at that castle, and it's like, here in America we have government agencies that if you purchase a historic property, there are grants and loans and government money available to rebuild them a home, an old Victorian or Edwardian era home, to find carpenters to build the proper woodwork and to do the lath work and the plaster work inside and put the old oil lanterns on the walls. I mean, all kinds of money available, and it breaks my heart that the UK does not have that same thing. I mean, you face it. People in Scotland and England and Germany and Poland and France are living in houses older than this country. They're living in houses that were built when the Romans were in the north, And
Yeah.
it just blows me away that Scotland, we have a history here 350 years old. The UK and the rest of that area has a history that is over 2,000 years old.
Yeah, actually,
but they don't
guys,
have
in
money
the
available.
chat-
I know.
Actually, guys, in the chat, see that Crawford Castle? Could you please go to Drew's Paranormal YouTube channel and give her a subscribe? Because she actually did a video there. Remember that? And
Yeah.
there was you actually caught like a spirit, a shadow moving. See, there's the kind of inside it. There's like an old cellar, and the stairs keep going down, but someone's backfilled it, and you can see the shadow actually moving down as if it's going down the stairs, and it just disappears under the ground. At one time,
Oh,
it was like a
wow.
cellar where they kept stuff. Yeah, yeah.
It's quite interesting, It's a good
Yeah, so
video.
head over there, Drew, if you want. Post your link in the chat or whatever, guys.
Hello, guys. I'll put it up. Yeah. Thank you.
Adobe Sock, if you're about, could you post Andrina's channel in the chat? I'll do it really quickly. Let's see if it was here.
Then I'll get out there. Yeah.
Let's have a-
Yeah, because I'm not linked. I don't know why it doesn't work.
I know.
Thanks,
I
guys.
don't know what. I'm just posting it in it. There you go, guys. There's Andrina's channel in the chat really, really quickly. And remember, also visit Drew Ellingsworth videos on, what'd you call it? On your channel. What's your channel, Mr. Ellingsworth? See
My
the name of it?
channel is Living Histories Mysteries.
Yeah.
So give those links a subscribe. Check out the links that they've put in there. So next week we were going to have Neil Story coming on, but he's had to cancel until the 4th of the next month because he's got some
Right.
Christmas and stuff. What should we talk about next week, Drew?
I don't know. Leave it up to chat. Is there anything you want us to talk about, guys?
Is there anything in Scotland, guys, that you want us to talk about?
Talk about
location.
I want to hear about Scottish slang.
Slang. Right. Okay.
Why the new?
We'll try and find the most slangish words we can find. Okay, we'll do that,
God.
and then we'll give you his interpretation if he's like. Not a problem.
You
my God.
people have got some of the most wonderful words over there that I've ever heard in my life. And, you know, just the other day, my daughter said something to me and I said, "Get your fanny out of here." And my wife looked at me and she said, "Why do you?" She goes, "Don't tell your daughter to get her out of here." I said, "I was talking about the other one."
Here is a question for you, Mr. Ellingsworth. Why do men and women have different kilts? You've asked a difficult question.
Why do men and women have different kilts? That is a good question. Because,
Is it
you
not
know,
something to do with women getting pregnant or something? Did we not have to have longer kilts because we had to carry our kids and things in our, like babies and things in our front pouch? Maybe something like that. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Well,
I used to carry them.
and
Used to carry them
see,
along.
I don't have it. I don't have it where I can show you, but I actually made my wife a Scottish dress several years ago. And it had the cape with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the cape was not only used to keep the woman warm, but she could actually tie it around her like an apron.
Yeah.
Or she could take the two ends on it and tie them in a knot and then slide her arms through it. She had this huge pocket right here that she could carry her children. She could carry fresh vegetables. She could carry peat, you know, whatever she wanted to carry in it. Where the men, when you had your great kilt, yes, you could pull the top of your kilt over and tuck it into your belt, but you really had a small pocket. You could only carry so much in there. So the dresses, of course, were different than the kilts.
Bigger.
I tell you, we've had 3 ones. We could talk about the Scottish Kelpies. We could talk about the slang, or we could talk about Nicole here. We could do Scottish folklore. saying it's Christmas nearly, right? We could talk about
You-
all
you-
three of those subjects
Sure.
next week.
You should go down to the statues of Kelpies and photograph those.
That's what I'll do.
See, the Kelpies has got a really interesting storyline because depending on what water it is, it's a different coloured horse and things, and there is history behind that. So the Kelpies is a good subject
The Kelpies.
because
We
depending
will
on
talk
what
about the
field
Kelpies.
the water.
Yeah, we'll get. I'll get some pictures. I'll look at some pictures. You know, if need be, I'll send Drew out in a rowing boat. You know,
I'll do it for this channel. I'll do it.
You'll be fine.
I'd love
You'll
to.
be fine.
I'd love to hear more about the Kelpies, more about the Black Shook, and more about the water horse.
Yeah, for sure.
Strange things lie beneath the loch. You know, I was thinking
They say,
you know,
they say that Scotland is land of mystery.
oh yeah,
It is the land of legend.
Yeah.
You guys have got more folklores, you have got more cryptids, you have got more unsolved mysteries in Scotland. You guys have to understand, Scotland is only about the size of Michigan, where I live at.
Oh yeah.
It takes us 6 hours to get from the Indiana line up to the Great Lakes. It takes us about 5 hours to get from the east side to the west side.
Yeah.
In all actuality, Scotland is about the size of my state here.
Sure, definitely.
And they have got more legend, myth, mystery in that little tiny place than the whole United States put together.
There's definitely parts of the Highlands that you can stand at certain parts of the year, and the way that the wind comes through the hills and glens, it does sound as if it's singing. It is quite legendary in some of the places in Scotland, and it really does sound like somebody singing. That's where it comes. That's where the old songs come from.
You know, a place that I would like to talk about is Roslin Chapel.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes, definitely.
Yeah, but I think we'll keep that for next year, because what we'll do is we'll talk about the Kelpies next week, and we'll throw some folklore into that. We'll throw a bit of folklore and a bit of slang. We'll get Drew to do our stuff, you know. Speak some slang, you know. And then the week after that will be close to Christmas. So after that, I was going to throw like a Christmas bash on here and get some of my Bald and Bonker friends to come over, Dakota, Sherry, and some other people, Smith Family Paranormal, to come over, and we can have them all in. You're welcome to join us, Drew Ellingsworth. You're welcome to come over again, because we can host up to 10 people. And then obviously after that, we'll not be on for maybe until after the holiday season. Everybody, you know, do their stuff. But on the 4th of the next month, we've got Neil Story coming on to talk about Lane's Castle. And we're actually thinking about going there with him to film next year. So I think that'll be awesome. So guys, in the chat, could you please remember and visit Living Histories, is it Mysteries? And
Living Histories, Mysteries.
Yes. And Drew's Paranormal Vlog Scotland. I got that right, see?
Yes, I changed it.
Forgetful person's mother who says, you know, Dakota, you know. But anyway, guys, I hope
Snowman, this is what I'm doing for Hogmanay.
Brilliant.
Aye. So I've got my cherry aid for bars.
And guys, I will stream Hogmanay live, which is 12 o'clock. For anybody that doesn't know, in Scotland we have a tradition at 12 o'clock midnight. There's bagpipes play, the big bells and things ring, and I usually stream it live from my home. So anybody that wants to join me in Hogmanay, which is the 31st of December at 12 midnight, he's welcome to join me over there as well. And I'll give you a taste of what Scotland's like at New Year.
So there's Snowman there. Well, if you go to Drew's channel and give it a subscribe, you might see the strange things in Hogmanay.
Yep. You will.
You know. But anyway, guys, I would like a fantastic week. Remember, check out those links. Once this is uploaded, I'll add Mr. Enworth's links and Drew's links. And more videos will become. I'm trying to get out, guys, but it's -6 outside right now. it's really difficult to get filming locations. I've got a couple of graveyards I want to go to, so maybe do that weekend. So everybody, have a fantastic day, have a fantastic night, and we'll see you all next week. Catch you later, dudes. Bye.
Take care.
Bye, guys.